Hello guys, Simone Fan 101. Here we are with my Lucha Underground review. Now, after the monumental success of the first episode of Season 2 last week and how big and critically praised it was, I was so happy to watch Lucha Underground this week. And I was not disappointed. For the most part. I'll get to the little tiny nitpick that I have. But yeah, two shows in a week, and the fact that I only really find one nitpick, that's almost unheard of. Raw, you can find something to complain about every single week. It's friggin' ridiculous. Anyways, got my little shubba right here. So I was really looking forward to Lucha Underground this week. I enjoyed myself last week. I was gonna enjoy myself this week, and this week was a couple things I did not expect. Show started off with a backstage, not really a backstage segment, but more like I'm only going to call it backstage segment because it's not in the ring. But let's face it, it's basically like a cutscene in like a video game. That's so awesome. We cut to the weight room where Prince Puma is training. Pentagon Jr., who just turned, I believe he just turned face last week against Mil Muertes. He gave him a backstabber and then broke his arm. He confronted Puma, basically saying that we're tag team partners tonight against the Trios champions, which are the Disciples of Death, El Sinestro de la Muerte, Trece, and Barrio Negro. And he made it very clear to Prince Puma that I'm not your friend. I don't really like you. And then, they, got in each other's faces. Well, more so Pentagon got in Puma's face. And they had like a little, and this was a continuing trend throughout this week's show. They had like a brief, like 15-20 second fight scene ripped right out of a martial arts movie. I really enjoyed that because it was something different. We don't see that on the normal wrestling show. And this is what makes Lucha Underground different and successful. Jim Cornette. Cornette last week stated that he hated absolutely everything about Lucha Underground. And nothing against Jim Cornette, but he just doesn't get it. He doesn't get what makes Lucha Underground work. You can call it shitty all you want. Fact of the matter is, it has a huge following. Suck a dick. Anyways, we have the first match of the night. We have Johnny Mundo making his Lucha Underground return from Season 1 after being thrown through glass by Alberto El Patron and being all bloodied up. No Melina this time because, Melina did a really shitty thing in between the breaks of Season 1 and Season 2. And so Johnny Mundo is back. And he faced Killshot in his return match. Nice 4 to 5 minute match. We definitely got some offense from Killshot. It wasn't a squash match. They worked a very basic but good match here. I'd have to give Killshot some credit because he's a guy who I think needs to be utilized a bit more in Lucha Underground. And trust me, if TNA got their heads out of their asses and worked the X Division very well, Killshot would be like one of their big stars. He'd be so perfect for that role. So Johnny Mundo won. Good match here. At least for the time it was given, a good match. Not like NXT where half the matches were just mediocre. This was actually a good match for the 4.5 minutes it got. Next, we have a brief segment with Marty the Moth Martinez and a kidnapped sexy star What happened at the end of Ultima Lucha was Sexy Star kept on making a mockery of Marty the Moth Martinez, and Marty just couldn't take it anymore. He basically broke in terms of how psycho he was. He kidnapped Sexy Star, and at the end of the kidnapping segment, he said, "Wait until you meet my sister." Now, this segment showed that they're still in whatever area Marty kidnapped her and kept her in. He basically told her, "My sister's still coming, but we will return to the temple." So it was a very enjoyable cutscene type segment. I thought Marty was very good here. He definitely showed like a psychotic side to him. Like his rage finally broke, and he has finally come full circle. Because you think he'd be more pissed off. No, he's more happy. It's like his sociopathicness finally broke through, and he's like, yeah, he's come full circle. Now he's a raging psychopath. So I'm really enjoying this. After that, we had a build-up segment to build up the new... Oh, crap. I almost forgot. Oh, jeez. Sorry, guys. I have to backtrack here. After Johnny Mundo defeated Killshot, he called out not Prince Puma, Mil Muertes, and said he was going after the Lucha Underground Championship. Out comes Cage. He cuts a promo first to the crowds, and then slowly to the ring, basically stating he wants his shot at Mil Muertes and at the Lucha Underground Championship, and that he should leave, and that Mundo should leave now because the last time they faced each other in a match, Mundo lost. Which is true. If you look back at Season 1, Mundo actually lost a match to Cage. And after Mundo feigned leaving, being a chicken shit heel, he attacked Cage. They fought for a little bit. Cage fought back, being the powerhouse that he is. And what I loved about the end of the match, the post-match, was that even though there's these other storylines the main focus, the main goal is to get to that Lucha Underground Championship. They're making that Lucha Underground Championship mean something. Big time. A lot more than WWE makes the WWE title, TNA their title. You could maybe even bet more so than the Ring of Honor title. Maybe not the New Japan title, but then again, they don't really build up anything. They're not like a weekly television show where they have to go out and cut promos and all that. There's none of that. But they do build up extremely well, and that's what makes this show very good. Afterwards was the Marty the Moth segment I already mentioned, and after that was the build-up to Lucha Underground's newest stars. Not a new star in the wrestling industry, just for Lucha Underground, their more recent, signups, which is the WWE's former Justin Gabriel, PJ Black, who has had somewhat of a very eventful indie run ever since he left WWE last year. Despite being advertised, not being in the 2015 Royal Rumble was the final straw for him. And he's like, hey, I want to leave. Let me go. They let him go. And he's had quite an indie run for himself. He went to GFW, Jeff Jarrett's promotion, and is is not making waves there, but it's just definitely a starting point. It definitely got him to the dance. It got him into TNA just for a little bit, where he won the King of the Mountain Championship in a King of the Mountain Championship match, and he eventually lost it to Bobby Roode, but who better to lose it than to Bobby Roode at the time? And he was very good there. He performed very well there. He even got a World Heavyweight title shot against EC3, which is very weird because both of them were heels. Well, at the time, PJ Black was a face. And yeah, he's no longer Justin Gabriel, he's PJ Black. But he would turn heel like a week or two later after Jeff Jarrett turned on TNA and the whole GFW invasion thing happened. Now, that also got him the dance. He had a match against AJ Styles, which was a very good match. considering both the wrestlers, I'm not surprised. And now he's in Lucha Underground. This guy is working practically everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he worked in New Japan. He seems good for that junior heavyweight division, if only to be in their tournament in the middle of the year, which is a few months from now. It's very enjoyable. I love PJ Black being in here, and he had a build up video, and it was another like martial arts segment where he was just beating up two masked luchadors, a man and a woman, who were trying to like fight him. He calls himself the Darewolf, so it's like the Daredevil and the Werewolf. So the Darewolf, yeah, I know it's a little corny, but whatever, I can take it. So next, after that segment, after the commercial break, we come back. He's facing the Mac, who I don't know whether or not you guys know, but if you've seen the Mac, you know that a guy his size, and especially kind of the build he has, he should not be able to move around as well as he does. He's not muscular like Cage. He's actually somewhat flabby and looks overweight. But he moves around sometimes like a freaking light heavyweight. It's really spectacular how this guy can move. Again, another good match here between PJ Black and the Mac. They worked very well. PJ Black teased a 450 and was countered. Or not countered, but he couldn't hit it. And this is the one nitpick I have. The one nitpick I have is that PJ Black lost in his first match in Lucha Underground, which it's not a terrible thing considering it's Lucha Underground and PJ Black has other places to work. But he does, I think he would have benefited from a win here, especially considering that the Mac has no discernible storyline going anywhere. PJ Black at least would have some kind of momentum. But aside from that little nitpick, it was a very good match. PJ Black looked very good here. He looked strong here too. He didn't look weak. That was the good thing. He didn't look weak at all. And that's what I loved about it. So after that, we have another build-up video. Except it's not for later than in the night. It was for next week's edition of Lucha Underground. A woman by the name of Cobra Moon. Another martial arts type video, cutscene, build-up, whatever you want to call it. She's beating up other masked luchadors. And like PJ Black, they make her feel important right off the bat. She's coming to Lucha Underground next week. And she hopefully will be a very good wrestler. They need more women's wrestlers. They need to join Evil East and Sexy Star. And from what I hear, we're getting a wrestler called Cheerleader Melissa in there. I don't know. She might be. Is she Marty Martinez's sister? I don't know. Maybe she's somebody else. I don't know. I really don't. But aside from that, very good video. And I can't wait to see Cobra Moon in action next week. Next, we have the main event, which is Prince Puma and Pentagon Jr. versus the Trios Champions. I've already named them earlier. I already named the match earlier. In a handicap match. Now, throughout the night, like last week, the exception of his match, Mil Muertes was sitting on his giant throne in Lucha Underground. Puma and Pentagon worked a very good match here. And here's the thing. They're both loved by the fans. They're both faces. But they don't like each other. Doesn't matter whether you're face or heel, they don't like each other. And that's the thing that has been a little bit desensitized now in other promotions. That if you're a face, you're automatically friends with other wrestlers. No, you're not. Here's an example of two guys who are faces. They're beloved by the fans, and they don't really like each other at all. It was very good storytelling. They told a good story. They had a good match. It was probably the match of the night because it was given the most amount of time at like 7.5 minutes. Here's the thing: what I love, NXT. You have a couple minutes. They work a very basic match. It's very much a nothing match when they work a few minutes. When they get those few minutes, when the Lucha Underground wrestlers get a few minutes, they tried their absolute best to knock it out of the park. They don't do any bullcrap. They try their best to make it as great as they can be in that span of time, and they did just that throughout Lucha Underground Season 1 and so far in Season 2. Now, the match ended when Puma hit a 630 splash on one of the members. Pentagon Jr., right before he hit the move, tagged himself in, blind tag. He got the pin, 1, 2, 3. Winners are Puma and Pentagon. They obviously still don't like each other. Maybe like a minute later, they went back to fighting each other, and it ended like a standstill with Pentagon outside the ring and Puma in the ring. And that's how we went off the air. Well, not immediately, actually. That's how we went the wrestling part off the air. But afterwards was awesome. What happened is, the end of last season, Black Lotus, under the orders of Dario Cueto, killed Dragon Azteca. This season, a new person is wearing the mask of Dragon Azteca, essentially carrying on the Dragon Azteca name. And what ended up happening was he wore the mask. Somebody was talking to him, saying he was my master too. Whoever was in this Dragon Azteca mask, at the end, it was the last image of Season 1. He spray painted the question mark on the Lucha Underground billboard. And we hear this voice. It's a very familiar voice. It said, Dragon Azteca was my mentor too, and I may have been destined for great things, but I chose a different path, and I still achieved that greatness. But now I'm back. The camera pans from the new Dragon Azteca slowly towards the dark. We see a figure. I think he's in a hood. You see a figure, and the last thing we see is him move forwards towards the light. And it's none other than one of the greatest high flyers and probably the greatest master luchador ever, Rey Mysterio. What a hell of a way to end off Lucha Underground. Yes, yes, yes. I love Lucha Underground. This show is just very awesome. It's the best show that wrestling has today. It's got some of the better wrestling that I've seen in a little while, especially in terms of the effort given in just a couple of minutes, especially compared to NXT. Lucha Underground is by far the best show that there is today. And if you haven't watched it, you're really missing out. This show was another great show with one little nitpick that PJ Black didn't win his match, but that's just a nitpick. Nothing really bad happened there. It wasn't a burial, but it was a very, very good show. Not as great as last week's show. I mean, that Cuerno Phoenix match was awesome, but this week's show was very, very good. It kicked balls, it kicked ass, and I can't wait for the next few shows. I can't wait till, Season 3, because they already greenlit Season 3 at the Ultima Lucha tapings, which I have not seen, so I'm not spoiling myself. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. Now, with that said, guys, like, share, comment below, and ask me for questions on my ask.fm page. In the inbox below, you will see the match of the night there. Even if the show says a bad week and there's no good matches, I'll put the match of the night as far as I can tell. So in that case, there you go. And later, guys.